All right. We had the sheriff on yesterday as making a big to-do, and he says because he doesn't like any representative, as was the case in New England, where you have a representative who wanted to give a heads up to any illegals who would be in our area if there was going to be an ICE raid. The sheriff said, well, you've made my job a lot more complicated. We have Judge Napolitano joining us right now. His point was, what the heck? What's the law of the land? What do you think of this?
Well, the law of the land is that the federal government cannot compel local law enforcement to work for the federal government. But local law enforcement has taken the same oath as federal law enforcement has, which is to enforce the laws of the land. So does local law enforcement have to go out and arrest undocumented aliens? No. Can it hide them? Can it secrete them? Can it frustrate the job of the feds?
Can it look the other way, which is typically what they do?
It can look the other way, but it cannot aggressively, actively hide them or frustrate what the feds are doing. That's called obstruction of justice. So we had a case we looked at the other day where a judge sentenced an illegal alien to time served and said, I don't want you to leave the courthouse. I'm going to keep you in my chambers until the feds that are around the building leave. That's probably obstruction of justice.
Obviously, it complicates, let's say, a sheriff's job, because in the case of this one, he's trying to help ICE, round up illegals, let's say, and you have a local representative trying to thwart that. So what are the rules on that?
The rules will change the next time the Congress enacts a budget, because the new budget will say, we'll use as an example, we're going to talk about Seattle in a few minutes, here's $100 million for your police department. As a condition of accepting this $100 million, you agree that the police will work with the feds, will work with ICE when we're looking for people. Once they accept the $100 million, they have a legal obligation to work with the feds. So all of this will change 6 or 8 months from now once the new block grants come out. But under the Obama-era block grants, the money that's still being distributed by the federal government, where those conditions don't exist, the locals can avoid the feds.
How
Not
can they,
frustrate
though, Judge?
them, but avoid
it's
them.
The law of the land, right? Or sanctuary cities, they've been there and around for so long that there's no stopping them.
Well, look, if the feds want the New York City police to help them find undocumented aliens in this neighborhood, they can't order them, the New York City police, to work for them. If they want to bring more feds in, they can do that. If they give grant blocks to New York City in October and the condition is the police will help, then the police will be legally obliged to help. So we're basically still under the Obama regime with respect to the conditions for the receipt of funds.
Gotcha. Now, Seattle is suing over this and saying that the Trump administration just can't threaten to cut off federal funds. You drew a distinction with new federal funds, new block grants.
They can threaten. They can't take money back that's already been committed for this fiscal year, which goes till September 30th. But the flip side of this is the litigation from Seattle is frivolous because they haven't been harmed yet. The feds haven't taken a nickel away from you. You can't sue because you think somebody's going to hurt you. You sue after they have hurt you.
Where is this going? Because we have these sanctuary cities and states and whole regions, and then in New York and in Chicago, and what?
The states and the cities have never turned down federal grants because the conditions were too burdensome. So President Trump and the executive branch and the Republican majorities in Congress will have to endure this frustration until the next fiscal year, when they dangle that cash in front of all these cities and they take the cash, and when they take it, they take the strings that are attached with it as well. That's what the Supreme Court has ruled.
But isn't it a whole different matter, Judge, when you get to a point of not only looking the other way, but as this representative was advocating in Massachusetts, actually warning illegals, hey, ICE agents are coming.
That would probably be misconduct in office if done by somebody who took an oath to uphold the law. If done by a Catholic priest or bishop who wants to hide them in the basement, not misconduct in office, because they're not in the government. So we get a little dicey here as to who can do what.
Is it your sense to, I mean, this gets in the realm of politics here, but this stuff and everything else that's going on, and the Russians and who knew what and when, just to dislodge the Trump agenda?
I do. I think it's a massive onslaught against him from people in the media and in local and state government who still can't believe that he's president. and want to put as many
right,
and they want to put as many obstacles in his path as possible. The Hawaii judge that ruled last night extending the nationwide a ban on the travel order, if that same order had been signed by Barack Obama, would have been upheld. How do I know that? Because the reasons given for invalidating the order were things that Donald Trump said before he was president. I have never seen, before the Trump presidency, the words of a candidate used against an office holder. And the Supreme Court has cautioned against that. Because as we all know, candidates say things in the heat of the campaign that they don't necessarily follow up on.
You can glean intent, can't you?
You can glean intent, but you can't use somebody's words to frustrate, as a candidate, to frustrate what they do as an office holder. And that's what this judge in Hawaii did.
Amazing. All right, Judge, so good to see you, my friend.
Thank you, Neil. Good to be with you.